Hello, and welcome to day 4 of Cube 3's E3 sneak peeks. Tonight, very gifted, maybe honoured, maybe the word, to be joined by Sandy, who is back from his Wednesday night antics,
Feasting.
feasting with friends, and Mike McCann.
What? Not humbled to see me?
No, I saw you yesterday.
The marvelous Mike
stream,
McCann.
Mike was there.
Yeah, two in demand, Sandy.
Yeah, I tried Marvelous last night, and there was no response. So,
We have loose cannon Luke.
yes,
Yeah.
which is clearly showing in the first couple of minutes of this stream. But welcome, everyone. Thanks for watching. As usual, we've been patrolling the virtual booths of E3, checking out the latest stuff for you, so you don't have to, or you can't because we've got press access. But first of all, tonight we've got quite a few things to get through. Quite a packed show tonight. But first of all, I'm going to hand you over to Sandy, who has been. What have you been doing, Sandy? Been interviewing.
I've been
Interviewing
talking.
a developer.
I've been talking to the head of Signal Studios about their remaster and re-release of the game Toy Soldiers. So,
With Xbox
Big
Live
franchise.
title.
was that sorry?
Originally an Xbox Live title.
Yep, Xbox Live
Was it?
Arcade. It's
I always just remember. I thought like through the PS, like 2 GameCube era, there was just like loads of Soldier games.
so I think there is another thing called Toy Soldiers, but it's not related.
Ah, okay.
This is a strategy game. I'm not sure.
It's a tower
Yeah.
defense game
Nice.
set in World War One, but it's also not set in World War One. It's a toy version of World War One. So you play in a little game's chest. It has like actual, sort of inside of your play chest walls, and then you place little toy gun emplacements and tanks and stuff to defend your area. So I can't remember a lot about the original release. I should have made some notes, but I didn't because I'm not that prepared. But it did fairly well. They did make a sequel or a side game at the time about the Cold War, I want to say, perhaps. And just recently, Signal Studios have got their hands back on the IP, and they're doing their best to sort of resurrect it for this current gen. So I did get the chance to speak to their developer, and it was a lovely conversation. He's a very nice chap. Well, they're all very nice chaps.
Where are they from?
So they are American. I'm not exactly sure where from. Unfortunately, we didn't have that conversation.
They're from the Pacific Coast, I think, judging by our interview meeting time.
They probably commute on the Pacific Coast Highway.
Yes, they might be on that highway
also-
that's
they're-
in True Lies.
They're partial to NBA, which I just tried to not look too confused by.
Yeah. Space Jam is basically my entire knowledge of the NBA.
Yeah, same. Charlotte Hornets. They were a team.
Yeah. Detroit Pistons. That's all I know.
He did have a hat for a specific group, but I've actually forgotten his name, and I actually recognise it. So the fact that I've now forgotten is unfortunate. So yeah, they gave me a bit of insight into their development and how the game was going to fare against its original version. It's been confirmed that they are releasing the HDified. I didn't get the complete ins and outs of the graphics, but I know that it now is supporting the highest resolutions on its various consoles, and they've upped various bits of the game. So, for example, where campaign levels might have had, say, just 3 or 4 waves. Those waves will now be different, so they've been varied a little bit. They might have more numbers. They maybe have different types of units, that kind of thing. Each campaign level is based, well, apart from some of the DLC levels, which are now part of the new campaign setup.
All included for free, aren't they?
Yep, every single thing that was in
So
that original
all
game
previous
is in that now. It's all been integrated as part of the main campaign.
Awesome.
And most of these, apart from the ones where you fight, say, robots or something like that, are based on World War One battles, like actual World War One battles.
There weren't robots in World War One. I've been hugely misinformed.
Well, I mean, if you look at the people wearing the flamethrower suits, you might assume they're robots.
Yeah.
Zeppelins. Don't see those anymore, do you?
All my knowledge of World War One comes from games, and every World War game I've played usually has a robot in it. So this is quite a fresh change of pace that this is actually accurate.
So it does have a lot of historical accuracy, but everything has been toyified. So say you've got like a tank, it will have a little wind up key in the side that'll spin around as you drive around and stuff. And obviously all your characters are toys, so shooting them and exploding them to pieces is less grim.
What era are the toys from?
What era are the toys from?
Yeah, because that could be like some proper Inception kind of stuff. Like,
Are you thinking they're like 40s chiseled? They look like the old like metal kind of 70s toys, don't they? Like the metal painted.
They do look quite like that, yeah. It's kind of hard to tell, but going by how much of history buff their lead director person is, he might well have done World War One era toys as well.
yeah. So it's World War One, possibly in the 1970s.
And all of these campaign levels now feature survival mode. So that was a side game mode in the previous game, but people loved it, so they've now converted all the campaign levels to support that. Meaning that I think it's just as many waves as you can survive to get your points and stuff like that. Unfortunately, I didn't actually play survival mode in the original because I spent all my time playing it with my brother, and the memory of that is fading very slightly with all the new information that came across. They have done a lot of work, including making some new levels. It's actually got new levels versus the original that are exploring some concepts they had that they didn't get to include at that time, and that they'll probably work on in future projects, including one that was heavily hinted as potentially being some form of boss rush, but not confirmed, so feel free to take that as you will. And
you may as well have winked at the end of that, I think. Not that seductively. Just a knowing wink, not a suggestive one.
So those new
Like
levels,
a sexy boss rush.
were described as 3 new and 3 experimental levels. So I don't know if that's 3 new levels of Raw or if it's 6 levels. Unfortunately, I ran out of time before I could really clarify that point. And as you complete campaign levels as Allied forces, you also unlock the German side, so you can play both sides of the conflict. Now, you've played a tower defense game before, right? You place units and your enemy walks on a specific path to their destination. If you get there, you fail.
Play full condo.
Sorry, what?
Full condo was that.
That's true.
Like Hitman Go. Like that.
No, I wouldn't say it's quite like it has set positions for you to move things to, I guess, but it's more like say balloons tower defense, where you just have to pop all the balloons and none of them get past you, kind of thing.
Right.
Only the balloons are soldiers and it's guns. But where Toy Soldiers differentiates itself is sort of combined gameplay style. So you'll place your units on their specific battlefield places, and then you can actually dive in and take direct control of those units. So say you had airplanes on the battlefield, you can hop into those, you can fly them, you can drop the bombs, you can shoot things. If you've put down a heavy machine gun, you can hop on it, you can have direct control of that machine gun. So you kind of get that mix of being the strategist and being in the action. Apparently there are some bits in the new game that will play out mostly as action, so you can actually have like dogfights and stuff like that as well, which sounds pretty incredible, to be honest.
After seeing the trailer of it, that was kind of the swaying point for me. Like, I have played tower defense games before, but I am kind of that person who wants that bit more control. So it's really nice to have the option to go in and out of it. I think I am more action orientated, but it'd be nice to know that everyone else who is doing something I've set in motion.
Definitely. They've also got couch co-op, which was in the original, but it makes a return. And they have online multiplayer as well, where you can do PvP. One person takes each side, and you fight against each other to get forces through. And it's coming to basically every platform. I think it's Switch, Xbox, PlayStation, PC, the whole lot. And I asked them a bit about their sort of development and things, and they explained to me that while there were challenges making it fit every platform, I feel like maybe their base of an Xbox 360 game made that maybe a little bit easier, so you could scale up based on platform.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, they're extremely happy to be at E3, even though E3 is different this year. You know, it must be incredibly fun for a developer to be like, I can come here, I can highlight my game in this massive conference.
Absolutely. Get a lot of eyes on it.
Yeah, and if they're watching, massive thanks for spending some time with us.
Indeed, thank you very much. I hope I represented what you said adequately. And I'm looking forward to that game a lot more than I thought I was. After the interview, especially, there's that just renewed passion. I want this. I need to buy this.
That's cool.
And keep an eye on Cube 3's channels, because we will probably most likely be posting previews and reviews as they become available to us. Looking back, do you have any questions? If you have questions, we'll take them first, and then I'll play the trailer for the game.
Well, I was hoping that it was going to come to Switch, so you kind of answered my question there. But I'd be interested to see if it is couch co-op. How are they going to implement that? Is it going to be Pro Controller and the two Joy-Cons, or will we be able to have a Joy-Con each?
That's a good question. I should have asked them that one, but I assume that you'll be able to play it on just a Joy-Con. But we'll see.
What like perspective do you play from then? 'Cause obviously, it's not what I thought it was.
Yeah. So you play from top-down perspective when you're placing your units and stuff. But then when you want to take direct control over something, the camera will come down to a third-person camera behind them, so like an action camera.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And you'll be able to aim down your guns and use reticles and that kind of thing. But
Nice.
if you're using heavy machine guns or something like that, you're stuck to that spot because that's the spot you've put it. But if you're using a tank, you can freely drive around the battlefield. If you're flying a plane, you've got full plane controls and stuff like that.
That's pretty sweet. A little bit like, but better than Roller Coaster Tycoon, when you can go in someone's eyes and ride the roller coaster. But way better.
Yeah, because you can shoot things.
Yeah, you can't shoot anyone on a roller coaster.
Or it's certainly not advisable to try.
That's why I can't go back to Oakwood.
But yeah, it's a surprisingly dynamic setup they've got for this tower defense system, and I think with that kind of identity, they could probably, take this series as far as they wanted. Just until they get bored of it, just keep making them.
And how do levels play out? Are they sort of done sequentially, or is there a campaign story?
So there is there's a campaign. It's not really linked up by story as such, but there is a very specific structure. I think you start early war and you work your way through that kind of setup. And there are boss battles as well. There's like giant tanks and giant planes and stuff like that to take down.
But no robots.
There are robots, but they're the DLC levels. They're technically non-canon. Not that there's a lot of canon
Well,
to uncanon.
there's lots of cannons.
Many cannons, just not much.
Many
cannon.
cannons. No cannon.
So yeah, there's a thread to follow, but it's mostly jump into the level. This is your battle. This is your number of waves that you're going to survive. Place your units and fight through until you either win or lose. One last mode he did tell me about as well, or one of the new experimental levels is what's it called? It's like the long stretch or something like that, I think it's called. And essentially it's a level that is incredibly long. He did tell me how long it took him to complete it, but I won't share that because he said instead of giving a time estimate, it's a long level. It's hard. It's about managing your resources. So it sounds like they've worked on a lot of new challenges for this system, and I'm quite excited to see what that's like. So yeah, will I play the trailer and then we can move on to topic number 2?
Yes, let's see the trailer. And thanks again, everyone, for
thank you very much for talking to us.
Taking the time to chat to us.
A most ingenious plan to end this war too sweet and straight away. So I asked to see the general, but the sergeant told me no. He said in the trenches where you're meant to stay. I said, dear sergeant, pardon me, I see that I've made you upset, but let me tell you my plan to save the day. Oh, let's try being a little nicer. Let us all agree to disagree. Why don't we send some flowers to the Kaiser, and then we'll all be home in time for tea. Oh, let's try being a little sweeter. You catch more flies with honey, don't you see? If the brass would change their tone, then we could all go home. But the generals never listen. The generals never listen. The generals never listen to me.
We're back.
Excellent. Looks like a great game.
Looks incredibly
Out
fun.
soon. And speaking of fun,
Oh yeah, it's out in August, but they don't have a specific day yet. That'll be confirmed soon.
well, I'm sure it'll be confirmed soon, maybe sometime over E3, but keep a lookout for that in August. And keep a lookout for pre-orders in July for our next topic, the PlayDate, which Mike is going to run us through. Mike, you're very excited about this, aren't you?
The Playdate. I really am.
I've never seen you excited like this before. Not since Simpsons Arcade last night have we been this excited.
Yeah, I'm trying to think when I was this last excited.
I've known you 10 years. It was yesterday was the only time I know this. Maybe
Yeah.
even more excited about this. You've told me about this quite a lot in recent months.
I have been bringing it up occasionally, and then
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the inner hipster in me, because it's a very hipster-esque device.
There's nothing around you that suggests you're a hipster.
No, I know. Like you wouldn't know, would you? I've got a CD collection. wearing a colossal squid T-shirt. But
Squids are available.
yeah, well, let's talk about Playdate then, shall we? They did a trailer a few days ago. It has been a little bit controversial because it was meant to come out, I think, a year or two ago now,
I think so.
but it's sort of been stuck in development hell or whatever it is. But to be fair to them, they're releasing brand new hardware with a analog flywheel in it.
A crank?
A crank. That's the word I'm looking for.
The winder. The spindly doodle.
So it's basically it's a piece of hardware, little tiny yellow bit of hardware, which is made by Teenage Engineering and Panic, the guys who released Untitled Goose Game.
Great game.
They're now venturing into the world of hardware, and what they're kind of doing is just creating this little kind of I don't know, what would you call it? Like a little. It's kind of a vanity device in a little way, but I don't mean that in a negative way. It's quite a cool little like credit card sized piece of hardware that looks really unique, and they're going to be releasing a series of games for it. So you basically buy the hardware, and then you're going to get 24 games for free included in that purchase price. And they all look like they vary in length, but they all look like cool little interesting ideas. Like the screen is just black and white. It's kind of got these kind of hardware limitations that just sort of, I don't know, it just looks fun. It just looks fun.
It does look fun,
Like,
to be fair.
Purposeful limitations. Like they've certainly leaned into that. Like it's got that nostalgic value, but it's also got that new, innovative, like something we haven't seen in a handheld since the Switch. Really,
Yeah.
is a new bit of innovation. I really like the design of it as well. When you first told me about it, that's what swayed me. And now finding out we get 2 games every week for 12 weeks, I think.
Yep, I think that's right.
Yep.
Are Panic developing all the games, or have they put that out there to let people work on their own?
That's right. Yeah, this was part of the announcement that they've created their own. There's going to be a website released. What was the name of it? I can't remember the name of it now, but basically they're going to release a website which allows anyone to develop games for the Playdate. But aside from that, they've bagged some big names like Lucas Pope is developing a game for it, the guy who did Obra Dinn, which review on Cubed, by the way. I think is probably one of the finest games made.
Certainly one of the best reviews I read on Cubed.
Yes, yeah. The reviews slightly better than the game. But yeah, I recommend checking that out and checking out Obra Dinn. But he's working on a game for it. Katamari Damacy guy, he's making a game for it.
Oh, really?
And I'm no doubt, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of other surprises in there. But if you look at the lineup of games, there's some really cool, interesting ideas coming out from it. So they kind of showed the titles of all the games, but they haven't actually shown all of the games. But like one of them is like a visual novel where you play pinball to make your decisions in the story. And it just sounds so unique that it's just like
Could you like use the crank to turn the pages?
There's all sorts like that. It hasn't been, not everything's been shown, but they've shown like the crank being used to fast forward and slow down time. They've shown it to like open doors, and open and close doors, which I'd be happy if it was just that in every game.
Yeah, just lots of fun little bits and pieces.
Yeah, if that movement and that feeling is satisfying.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the crux for this piece of hardware. I think if that crank feels unsubstantial, it could live or die by the feeling on that crank. I feel like.
Yeah, I mean that's their unique draw, right? So if that's the bit that's unsatisfying, then they might have a problem. Yeah,
definitely. But anyway, they're opening up pre-orders in July. There's no solid release date. But they've basically said that they're gonna just get them out as soon as they can to as many people as they can. And
Do
they
you know how much they are?
yes they've they've made a price.
Well, they have
They've-
made a price.
They have made a price of. Why is it not on their website at the moment? I think it was $179.
I believe
That
so.
that is
Oh.
what it is. Yeah.
Is it?
Mhm.
Cool. Oh, thanks. I've not actually got it on the website. It's like,
We're just trying to pull it out of you.
Yeah,
Well,
it
'cause
was,
it's
it was a
so
challenge.
it's a professional show here on there, Keith.
As you said last night, we rehearsed this vigorously before we bring you this final perfected content.
So
Um,
it is a bit pricey for what it is, and I think I have seen some criticisms out there for that. But when you factor in all of the games you're going to get, is it really that pricey? I don't know. I don't know what that'll translate to in pounds. So I hope it's not a literal 170.
179 is about 150,
50?
40,
Yeah.
140 to 150. Maybe they might have priced themselves up a bit, but also it is really unique. Like,
Yeah.
I'd certainly want one of these.
Yeah.
Also, Teenage Engineering are very reputable hardware engineers. They're known for making musical instruments, and they have like a very good reputation.
I've got Untitled Goose Game as well, and if there's that kind of innovation in any of these games, and judging by what you've said, they've made this whole games console around an innovative concept.
Yeah.
So I don't really see how it can fail, to be honest. It's a lovely yellow as well.
It's
Like,
It's
a nice,
a really cool looking console.
reminiscent of maybe another console that we might have had at some point.
Oh, you mean the Game Boy Color? That's it.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
It definitely does have Game Boy vibes. Like the display is very Game Boy. One other thing is they're not backlighting the screen as well.
They're using
that-
That's it.
what do they call it? Reflective technology, rather than it's not like paper like Amazon uses.
It's like that though. Is it like a similar technology?
Yeah, one that
Okay.
will work lightless for
Yeah.
the most part.
So that'll be interesting to see how that shakes out.
I've seen a couple of like extras for it as well. I've seen like a stereo dock, which
Oh,
kind of
yes.
turns into a little TV.
Yep, this is an important thing
that's
to mention.
very cool.
Yeah, that's very funny.
They've announced some accessories and a little like flip case which covers the screen and
The
stuff.
flip case is $29.99.
That's right. Yeah, but they haven't announced a date for the stereo dock. I don't believe. Yeah, is that right?
I'm not too sure. Unfortunately, I didn't research that bit.
Oh.
Although we have literally just seen the little snippets of the games on our own stream there, and I dare say they look a lot more interesting than I noticed the other day.
Yeah, it just looks like fun. I think that's the bottom line, which I think is their messaging. If you watch their release video, is just like spot on for me anyway.
I really like the idea as well that they're opening it up. Like, potentially, it's got such a shelf life. If people are really going to take this, and you're always going to find people who take it in a really interesting kind of narrative direction.
Yeah, it's one of the things that interests me about it. Interests me about it as well is that they are opening it up.
Mhm.
They're just saying this is going to be a completely open platform. Anyone can make games for it, and I think that's awesome. It's such a cool, inspiring little gadget, I guess, if it delivers.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly looks like it can. So fingers crossed. Fairly high hopes for it. It's a nifty little device.
Yeah, same. Thanks for that, mate. So pre-order in July.
Yep.
No firm release date, but $179. We're not sure about the conversion for all you UK watchers.
And it's yellow.
And it's yellow, and it has the little TV dock, which looks amazing. And if you've got OCD,
Oh.
there's a cover for you.
And we didn't mention the pen in the
Yeah,
dock as
there's
well.
the
It
pen
comes
as
with a
well.
big pen.
Ooh, I didn't even know about the pen.
Yeah, like a custom built pen just to fit in the dock.
It was a very quirky way to open their show.
So, okay, great. Thanks for that, Mike.
Cool.
So that's our main stuff. But as we said, we rehearse this vigorously and go through every note with a fine tooth comb. But as this was going on, personal friend to all of us, Jeff Keighley, a friend to us all.
Our saviour.
All hail Lord Keighley. Was introducing Summer Games Fest. A massive thing happening just before us. Totally understandable as the guys who watched this show with us. We know why he went before us. Like, didn't want to clash. We did notice that he finished his little presentation just before we started, which I think was a sensible move. But we've got some new announcements from Summer Games Fest. Would you guys agree this really feels like the big start of E3 now? Like the big weekend of gaming starts here?
It does,
Absolutely. Yeah, it almost kind of feels like the pre-show, doesn't it?
It does. It's that little tidbit, but even in a little tidbit, we've had some massive announcements. I'm just going to run through them for us. Feel free to jump in and tell me what you're excited about. But I think the main talking point, which was a bold move, and they led the show with it, Death Stranding Director's Cut. How are we feeling about this?
I'm excited.
All in.
I love that they teased it using Metal Gear themed scenes. That was a nice.
Yeah, he knows how to troll, doesn't he?
He really does.
Kojima.
He does. Like, you can't pin that on him.
Unless there's a hint that he's going to remake Metal Gear. Who knows?
He might remake Metal Gear with the guy whose name I forgot, Daryl.
Oh, Norman Reedus, yeah.
Norman Reedus.
Yeah, and he'll call it Alloy Wheel.
Yeah. That is what it looked like, didn't it? It looked like it's going to be Death Stranding, but with Metal Gear Solid gameplay.
Do you know?
Yeah.
And this is probably controversial. That would probably improve Death Stranding.
No, sadly, no.
And I like that game, but
no, you're wrong. You're wrong about Death Stranding.
So
it's
we've
a
all
masterpiece.
We've all played Death Stranding. Some of us, I think it was near religious experiences. If I had any kind of inkling towards religious pastimes, then I think playing it in the winter that we played it, and just that slog of a work day, coming home, sticking Death Stranding on, and just pushing through, like, that really felt like it'll stick with me, and I'm very excited to play it again. We've got no set time date on that, though, have we?
no, just say coming soon.
And we don't actually know what the director's cut is going to entail. I'm guessing.
Cutscenes.
Well, yeah, it's going to be.
I
I'm
always say
guessing
cutscenes.
more cutscenes.
Yeah,
Churches
And there's
DLC.
already quite a lot in there. But I'm trying to think what he could actually change up for Death Stranding that would.
I'm sure he'll think of something. It'll be something mental.
Yeah.
Skateboarding levels.
Yeah.
But
Or-
are we getting this?
or stars.
Are we day one in this?
I don't know about day one, but I would certainly be willing to jump in. I need to finish the original first. I didn't quite complete it yet.
How-
Spoilers for the ending then, with me
Yeah.
talking about Church's DLC.
Oh yeah. How many songs did you get into, Sandy? In it, when you get like the low raw songs.
Oh, I don't remember. I think I must be at least 2/3 in.
I think that's actually that might be the main reason Luke says it was a religious experience, actually. Because as you're playing through it, this is a minor spoiler, but hardly. Is like he promoted it with churches.
Yeah.
So you're playing it and you keep thinking this Churches song is going to play at some point.
You know it is Churches, don't you?
It's Churches.
We will not be tagging churches in this, and apologies to churches, because I actually love churches. They're one of my favourite bands, and hence why I know how to pronounce them.
I'm indifferent to them. Until I got Robert Smith involved.
Yeah.
But like the whole game, isn't it? It's just like you go over a brow of a hill after like a really long slog, and then a song plays, and you're like, yes, this is churches. Sorry for the swear.
Yeah.
But you're like, hell yeah, it's gonna be churches. It's gonna be a little elation, and then low roar plays, and you're just like, oh, low roar.
I think there's probably it's no secret that I was waiting for churches to pop up at some point, but that whole, like you said, that whole experience of trudging up that hill, and all you see is the top of that hill and the grey sky, and as you start to go over, the music just starts to kick in. Like that was an amazing thing. Like I was against not having the option to play what music I wanted, but in terms of like storytelling and in terms of making Death Stranding that above game to an experience,
Yeah.
It was perfect. Like,
it was very good, especially when
the more
you
I
got
think
over the
about
top.
Death Stranding, the more I think about it now, the more I'm like, yeah, I really want to play Death Stranding again.
But yeah, you
And you can
work
throw
your way.
briefcases at the bad guys.
Yeah, that's always fun. But yeah, you work your way up to the top, and then you start coming down, and the music kicks in, and then you tumble all the way down the hill and die when you hit the bottom. That was my favorite bit.
Yeah.
With the music still really somberly playing.
Yeah. Just picking up all of your packages. Like you just dropped your wallet or something.
So I'm going to be picking this up day one, if only because I want to see how beautiful it is going to look on a PS5, because it is a beautiful looking game as it is. Mike, hopefully you'll be joining us in the PS5 realm.
Well, I keep getting tempted by the PC version, because the PC version's meant to be very good. But I probably won't. But by the time I do get a PS5, that could be a temptation. And it is definitely a game I want to play through again at some point. But I have to steel my soul ready to do that again.
Yes, yeah, it was draining in the best way, I think.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
But yeah, the more we
Like,
talk
nothing-
about it, the more I want to play it again.
Well, this is it. Nothing could bring you down as much to give you that end feeling of gratification. I think like reaching that snow-covered mountain,
Yeah.
hitting the top of that, and it's constantly looming in the background of your game from the very beginning, and then finding out you actually have to go up there, and it being as difficult as you could imagine it being.
Yeah.
Like that, I remember doing that over a couple of nights and being like, this is like driving home thinking, this is what I have to do when I get home, which sounds awful,
Yeah.
but it was so twinged with that feeling of like, I get to do this when I go home. I'm going to
Yeah.
conquer a mountain.
But as you say, that feeling when you get over was just like I've never experienced in a game.
He's got a way about him, hasn't he, Kojima? He knows what he's doing.
He does. He definitely does.
Yeah. I would like to meet him at some point.
I've met him.
What would you say to him?
What would I say to him?
Yeah.
Probably just hi, and then
You could
giggle like a schoolgirl.
well, if you did meet him, you could interview him. Say, like, there's a good chance, as Cube 3 is the
Got a
game
press
website
pass?
it is. Yeah, we've got a press pass. We could set up a Zoom call with him, and then we could arrive like 5 minutes late to that Zoom call, and he'll be like, "Oh, you were late," and we could just be like, "Kept you waiting, huh?" And then just leave the Zoom call.
I think I'd ask him, where did he come up with his crazy ideas from?
he would say, "I am a crazy idea."
He wanted to be his parents. Were they against him being a film director? Like he really wanted to be a film director. I
Yeah,
think growing up,
I vaguely got a inclination of this. Yeah.
and then it kind of diversed into video games, which we're all the
Yeah.
better for. but I imagine we will get that Metal Gear movie at some point as well, starring Tom Holland probably.
So, what else was announced at
That's it. Yeah, give you a quick run through. We have new roles and skills for Among Us. Any Among Us fans? Mike and I play it quite a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know, that's awfully sus.
But nice. You have to tag that. People know what that means. But we're also getting achievements for it as well. Fast and Furious are joining Rocket League. I'm sure we're all massive fans of the Fast and Furious. Like literally all I know about Fast and Furious is it's got cars and Vin Diesel in.
And that's all you need to know.
It is. A Rocket League's great fun. So that's like a perfect marriage, I'd imagine. We've got. I'm going to save some, Sandy, because I know there's some that you want to talk about. For me personally, a big highlight was Jurassic World Evolution 2. I've got the original Jurassic World Evolution, narrated by Jeff Goldblum throughout, and for that kind of game building game in a world. That game was brilliant, like really, really good fun. And you get the gratification of building this park that runs perfectly, but you only have to remove one part of the fence and just watch the chaos unfold. It's so much fun.
Is that how you win the game?
No, you win the game by keeping the dinosaurs in their cages. But so like at the start, it asks you to build. You've got your herbivores, you've got the non-threatening ones that might trample somebody, but as you progress, then you grow a velociraptor. And they're like, this is the big draw of the park, is the velociraptor pen. So you put all of the little seats around it, fence it all off, and then you just remove one of the fences, and the velociraptors just take everyone out. It's brilliant. So I'm looking forward to that, because that is a great game. We've got Blood Hunt, which is a spin-off from Vampire the Masquerade, made by Sharkbob. So a multiplayer vampire game, which sounds very interesting. Deviation Games is a new developer. 2 guys from Treyarch, so they've got a lot of qualifications behind them, but not much info on what they're making yet. But they are pairing up with PlayStation. Tunic looked quite interesting. Did you guys see that?
Yeah, I thought that looked really cool. Yeah.
Which one was that?
Run us through that, Mike.
Little isometric Fox game.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like a bit of a Zelda-like influenced game.
Yeah, I like the look of that. And
really cool art style, like kind of cartoony. Just look fun.
Yeah, especially like the way the bushes moved as you moved the fox with them.
Yep.
Tribes of Midgard. Didn't think I'd be excited about this, but actually seeing it in action looked really fun. Going out there, grabbing all your Viking-style armor, taking on massive giants, bits of boat in them. That looked awesome. And a game I personally requested, because I love the movies, and I think I've got Bruce Campbell's autobiography. Like, these are the kind of books I read. If chins could kill. The Evil Dead. Finally saw some gameplay of that, narrated by Bruce Campbell. That is very, very exciting, and I'm really looking forward to playing that, because we've had little hints of the Evil Dead, I think, in other franchises, but it's been a long time since there's been an Evil Dead game. I think it was PlayStation 2, Fistful of Boomstick.
I remember that, yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
And Hail to the King, maybe. I might just be making up names of Evil Dead games based on things Bruce Campbell says. That's what I would have called them anyway.
Groovy.
Yes, Evil Dead 4. Groovy.
I mean, the gameplay they showed looks not too bad, actually. I was a bit concerned by the health bars.
Mm-hmm.
It implies they're going to be really, really spongy enemies. and I don't really like that in a game. But the setting looks good.
Yeah, you put it in a cabin, you sorted.
And a bunch of the kills looked pretty creative as well, didn't they?
Yeah, the one with the shovel looked pretty good.
Yeah.
Like actually shoveling the head off. But Sandy, I'm going to hand it over to you because I think there's two you want to talk about: Tales of Arise and Monster Hunter Stories 2.
Indeed. So, Tales of Arise was already announced, and they had a very, very brief sort of taster trailer. But now that they've shown us some actual gameplay and a bit of story, at least I think they showed us story. I didn't watch it with sound, so I can't confirm. I mean, the style they're going for at this time looks really nice. It looks like they're going for a slightly more realistic render of the characters. They looked to be real sized people this time, and their mix of sort of this might come off as a negative for some people, but it kind of reminded me of the look of Genshin Impact, but with shinier armor and maybe a bit more kind of high level graphical stuff going on because it's not for mobile phones.
I think considering the popularity of that at the moment, I think that might be a good thing to lean into.
Indeed.
It did look very nice.
Its combat really looked slightly reminiscent of Final Fantasy 15 and 7 remake. Very kind of flashy and obviously real time. It looks like it's retaining that Tales series combat without changing too much.
That looked a little bit like Xenoblade.
Yeah, that's probably this.
Possibly. But Monster Hunter Stories also looks like Xenoblade.
Ah, okay. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
So
you made a lovely little segue though. There.
Yeah. Segued right off a cliff into the mouth of a Rathos. The only thing with Monster Hunter World 2 that I didn't like in that trailer was someone saying Rathalos. What? That is a weird pronunciation.
Mark Ruffalo's.
It's Rathalos. For it is made in Japan. But there we go. But yeah, no, like Monster Hunter Stories 2 genuinely looks like a really good JRPG. And if it has some Monster Hunter crossover sort of gameplay features, then there's pretty much nothing that game can do wrong. I don't remember a lot about the first game, but I know that it was loved by a couple of people in Cube 3.
What was the first one on? 3DS?
3DS, I believe. I played the demo, I think, but I didn't ever play the full game. But the second game has got me genuinely interested. It looks to be really kind of expanding on games like Xenoblade, but by taking out the grind by the look of things. But we'll see.
It's been a long time since I've dived into a Monster Hunter game. I think Freedom on the PSP was the last one I played.
If you liked Freedom, you'll like Rise on Nintendo Switch, and I may or may not have written the review for it and the previews and everything.
All the copy. The PR.
Yeah. Would you agree that your reviews were on the same level as the gameplay? Some people think their reviews were better.
If not slightly better.
Some people are more humble.
I would say at this point the game is much better than the review, but the score doesn't lie.
Sadly, just making me look bad now.
No, I'm just making myself look good.
Excellent. Well, thanks guys for joining us as usual.
But look, did you not want to comment on Elden Ring at all, or is it that sort of normal?
I was eating then, but yes. Elden Ring is happening. Remember that?
Remember From Software? They made some games once.
What games did they make? We'll really sell this.
I mean, I think didn't they make that Blue Point game, Demon Souls?
Yeah, I've heard that's quite popular as well.
They made Wolf Metal Chaos.
See that
was them, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
That
I've never
game was
played
insane.
it. I really want to play that game though. It looks amazing.
It's on Steam, isn't it? Like it's out in English speaking countries now.
I keep waiting for it to be on sale, but every time I've looked, it's been still full price. It's probably selling like hotcakes.
I think
But on a more serious note, it looks like a very good transition between the speed and anger that drove Sekiro into a more sort of Demon Souls slow, methodical setting. It looks like they're keeping in the parry system and stuff like that, so that could be very interesting to play. And George R. R. Martin's trying to spice up their world, which could be interesting.
Yeah.
See, this is why I left it. I feel like there's nothing I can say now anyway that would make this worse. But yeah, I left it out because purely it sells itself.
It does, it really does.
Made by the guys who made Dark Souls. Sekiro, probably one of my top games for the past couple of years. That really surprised me how much I loved that game. And Mike will probably attest to how many hours I put into that. I think that's a fantastic game. But yeah, looking forward to Elden Ring. We'll keep an eye on that one. I think we'll see a lot more of that during E3. Hopefully I haven't forgotten anything else now.
No, I don't think so. I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff that they showed, but some of it was just like things that are coming in the future.
Yeah, Weezer played a song.
Weezer, we say back. Weezer never left. But...
No.
And
Well,
it was a good wheeze.
There was a short period where he went to university, wasn't there?
Yeah,
At
yeah.
the start, and then after that, he's just like...
Yeah, he's back now.
yeah.
So keep an eye out for more Weezer stuff. Churches as well with Robert Smith.
Yeah,
For your
churches.
Hideo Kojima. Don't you start? You're from there. You should know them.
Yeah, they're not your neighbours, Sandy.
Yeah, and they say churches.
Traditions.
Don't say that.
That's the Scottish way of saying it.
Keep my head going.
I mean, if you go to
They say
Edinburgh,
houses.
they write the V in the council printed Edinburgh's with a V, and every time I see it, I go Edinburgh. Is it?
There you go.
So,
there you go, Luke.
Well, apologies to Churches if I've been pronouncing their name wrong.
I'm pretty sure
For the
it's
year-
churches,
the years
but it's
of following.
so funny.
Feel free to comment, Churches, and tell us how to pronounce your name.
We'll tag them and see what they say.
We will tag you, and yeah, we'll tag it correct pronunciation of Churches. I'm sure Laura Mabry will get in touch with us. She's a big fan of this show. That's what I've just made up.
In between writing a book.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Driving.
available now from their upcoming album. Cube 3 are not sponsored by Churches in any way. We just enjoy them. If there is anyone left watching this, 'cause we've massively derailed this, but I think in the best way. Thank you for watching, everyone. Possibly our last of the weekly shows, but there will be a lot of Cube 3 coverage throughout Cube 3. Cube 3. I'll just keep saying Cube 3. There's another thing happening that isn't Cube 3, E3, and we'll also be covering that.
Yeah, I think our intent is to cover plenty of stuff to do with the biggest shows. So
Yes.
keep
Please
your eyes
let us
peeled.
know.
Big ones. Yeah. Xbox,
Let us know if you
PlayStation,
enjoyed this, though.
Nintendo.
Indeed.
If you do enjoy watching these, then
Please like, comment, and subscribe.
yes, and
All
we're
those good
always
things.
available to do more of this. Sandy, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Mike, pleasure as always.
Cheers, guys. Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thanks everyone for watching, and that is all. Take care.
Peace out.